A school of small fish swim in the deep blue sea as a vibrant circle of yellow and orange light from the sun shimmers on the surface above. A thick bed of pink coral flows with the current. Copyright text at the bottom reads, Dr. Sylvia Earle, Mission Blue.
The ocean is the blue heart of the planet.
A thick cluster of yellow sun coral flows gently as tiny black specks dart around it. A large school of small grey fish darts from side to side above a seabed filled with various colourful coral.
It shapes climate and weather, generates most of the oxygen in the atmosphere, and is home for most of the Earth's great diversity of life.
A close-up view of a small group of grey and white striped tropical fish as they swim gently leftward. An underwater camera cuts to a clear blue seabed dotted with large clusters of rocky coral. Panning up from the seabed, a group of scuba divers survey a jagged coral reef as various fish swim around the reef.
But in a few decades, our actions have taken Earth's natural systems, our life support system, close to the breaking point.
The underwater camera floats over and around a seabed filled with lifeless broken coral as tiny fish swim around it.
We have taken the ocean for granted through most of our history, but we can't take it for granted anymore.
Two scuba divers at the top left, one holding photography equipment, swim gently above a mound of grey reef. A still image of a smiling woman through the circular window of an underwater sea vessel covered in colourful coral. On-screen text at the bottom reads, Dr. Sylvia Earle, President and Chairman of Mission Blue / the Sylvia Earle Alliance, National Geographic Society Explorer in Residence.
As a scientist, with thousands of hours exploring the ocean,
A still image of Sylvia scuba diving. She looks upward to the water's surface, which is covered in litter and plastic fragments. A still image of Sylvia as she stands on a seabed encircled by large grey sharks, one in the foreground and three in the background.
observing the creatures who live there and being observed by them.
A scuba diver on the left-hand side watches two whale sharks, one swimming towards the underwater camera and one swimming away, a still image of a vast reef of pearl white coral.
I am a witness to the greatest time of change in human history.
A still image of the silhouette of an upright scuba diver in vibrant blue water, surrounded by numerous jellyfish. A man in glasses hunches to speak to a camera in front of green leafy trees and a clear blue sky. On-screen text at the bottom reads, David Doubilet, underwater photographer, USA.
In 5 decades of photographing coral reefs, I realized I had captured coral through the lens of time.
A scuba diver swims leftward above a lifeless reef holding photography equipment. A diver's gloved left hand then holds a photograph next to an area of the lifeless reef. Numerous striped tropical fish swim throughout the background. The photo shows the same portion of reef teeming with color and surrounded by numerous blue tropical fish.
And this gave me an incredible ability to go back to an exact same spot, for instance on Opal Reef and the Great Barrier Reef, and photograph the effects of back-to-back coral bleaching. It is a picture that bears witness to the effects of global climate change.
The underwater camera skirts leftward across colorless reef as numerous black and white striped fish swim gently throughout the area.
What's more important is that in a single frame, I can show what was a healthy, robust reef and what is now a cemetery.
A still image of a diver's gloved left hand as it holds a photograph next to an area of lifeless reef. The photo shows the same reef teeming with color.
It's a picture that I hope that wakes people up. As the oceans go, so do we.
The underwater camera floats through a clearing between mounds of dark rocky coral in cloudy water. A woman in a light blue cardigan speaks to the camera. On-screen text at the bottom reads, Dr. Nadia Santodomingo, Post-doctoral researcher, Natural History Museum.
Coral reefs are very important for marine life. Despite they occupy only 1% of the ocean floor.
A colourful orange-tinged reef fills the screen. A spotted greyfish in the centre faces closely towards some coral.
They sustain more than a quarter of marine species. They give income, food, and coastal protection to more than 500 million people all over around the world.
A scuba diver holding recording equipment swims gently over a vast reef in cloudy blue water. A woman in a refugia t-shirt speaks to the camera in front of a sunny blue shoreline. On-screen text reads, Dr. Zarinah Waheed, the Coral Triangle Initiative, UMS.
As an international partner of the Reef Refugia project, our team feels proud of the strong collaboration we have established with our colleagues at the Natural History Museum in London.
Nadia stands in a room filled with white cupboards and places a small piece of tagged white coral in a drawer. She then sits at her office desk and views coral-related data on a computer screen.
We have been able to truly work together and share expertise and resources to better understand the ecology of resilient coral reefs. Coral reefs are declining worldwide due to climate change, so it is urgent to find reefs that can cope better with global warming and increased water temperature.
The underwater camera follows behind as two scuba divers swim alongside a wall of turquoise reef. A tilted shot shows a group of long, thin reef columns stretching up to the surface with water bubbling around them.
And as corals do not grow according to country borders, we need to join efforts to understand the challenges and find ways to protect these reefs.
A scuba diver swims through a clearing between two dark, rocky mounds of coral. David sits indoors next to a woman with blonde hair and glasses rested on her head. On-screen text at the bottom of the screen reads, Jennifer Hayes, underwater photographer, USA.
Over our time in the sea, we have seen evidence of overfishing.
A large school of small grey fish struggle underwater as they are bound tightly into a ball by a fishing net. A still image of hundreds of dead small grey fish appears as they float on the water, stretching from the bottom of the image all the way to the top, where they meet a large fishing vessel situated on the cloudy horizon.
An increase in ocean pollution.
A still image of a grey seal crying in pain on the shoreline as its body is entangled in brown fishing rope.
Habitat loss, habitat destruction, climate change on nearly every assignment, whether we start out to document it or not. But we also see resilience.
Two black and white harp seals swim below a surface covered in thick ice. One swims leftward out of view as the other elegantly swoops downward.
The Wildlife Photographer of the Year awards bring the magnificence of the ocean into our consciousness.
A white harp seal pup lies on a bed of snow and ice and scans the area curiously.
And brings into our homes the impact of humans.
The camera glides through a grand museum corridor towards a stone archway as glass fossil display cases line the walls either side.
The Natural History Museum is looking for solutions, with many others striving for a future where people and planet thrive.
The camera glides towards a modern setting with glass walls and white structures. A white beam across the middle of the space includes the text, Darwin Center. A manta ray swims towards the underwater camera in vibrant blue water above a bed of thick reef. Small blue fish swim around tall, thin columns of reef stretching vertically from top to bottom.
Through global partnerships, increased awareness, science, and personal actions,
An orange and white striped clownfish and another small silverfish swim among flowing lilac coral. A bird's eye view of two dolphins jumping out of clear blue water.
there is hope for recovery where damage has been inflicted.
A still image of a flat, cracked white and grey stone, dotted with red patches of blood. A still image of a dishevelled polar bear, looking at its reflection on the surface of a shallow body of water, dotted with large rocks. In the background, a rainbow fills the bottom half of a stormy sky above a patch of green land. A swarm of bright pink jellyfish then flows through deep blue water.
You, I, we, all can do something to protect the blue heart of the planet.
A large school of sharks swim clockwise in a circle through clear blue sea. The gap in the middle of the circle is filled with sunlight as it pierces through the water's surface. A whale's dark blue tail flows gently upwards as small bubbles fill the deep blue sea around it. There is an end screen with black text on a white background. At the top left, the Natural History Museum logo consisting of a white capital N. Below it, text that reads, "Discover the story behind every image. nhm.ac.uk/WPY.#WPY57. Wildlife Photographer of the Year."